the liberation of a former Satanist. So the Lord is ready to save and do good to everyone who follows this testimony and who decides to open the door of his heart and to give the Lord time to make his entrance. I think it's a wonderful and special thing when the Lord enters a person's life. He changes everything. He allows the person to be changed and his life becomes the reflection of his glory. I was initiated in witchcraft when I was in the womb of my mother. I grew up in a dimension of queens, goddesses and dragons that ruled the 5 continents. Where I was raised by a queen of the sea. I served the devil for 25 years, and I was married to the mermaid Helen, of the realm of the goddess of the Indian Ocean. When I became the 3rd-degree representative of the mystery of air, I was given 406 demons to work with me. I was also given access to an angel of Lucifer who fell from heaven. He dwelled beneath the Pacific Ocean. I was supposed to travel to his outpost beneath the Pacific Ocean for strategic meeting. I was traveling under the Pacific 5 times a year to meet this fallen in the name of Namadel. The devil also introduced me to 4 goddesses of maternity and fertility, to help to cause abortion and miscarriage in different hospital. Brother, when I had reached the highest level of magic, there was no more rank to rise to. When you reach the highest level of Satanist, the next step is to die and become a demon or a human spirit at the service of Lucifer. Thus I signed a pact of immortality and divinity with the devil in order to die a good death, and rule in the realm of sirens and dragons. While death was coming, I decided to have a child that will be my progeny on earth. When the baby was born, the devil, who is wicked, came and asked me to offer him my girlfriend and my newborn baby, that was supposed to be my only progeny. It was clear that after serving him for 25 years he would not let me have a child that would be my descendant on this earth. This is even after signing the pact of death in order to rule beyond the grave. When I refused to obey the instruction of the devil to offer my partner and new baby, I knew that the devil will come after me, and the devil knew that this rebellion marks the beginning of the end, and the devil will not let me release all the secret of the dark world. Having spent 25 years in his service, there were many things that I knew. He knew that once delivered I was going to reveal hidden mystery of his kingdom. The devil did not want his works to be exposed, and he decided to kill me, for he wanted me to die with all the secrets. That's how he sent wicked spirits, demons who are charged only to kill. It is by the grace of God that I came out of Satanism alive, for a lot of Satanists have left in the service of Satan. When it was clear that I was not going to kill my partner and baby in human sacrifice, I began to look for deliverance from Satanism. I visited 23 successive churches in the city, but I was not successful, given that I had 400 demons in my body. During prayer these demons were beating the intercessors and I was chased away from churches. I spent 5 months going from one church to another for deliverance, but I was not delivered. I knew that time was running out, and I was expecting Lucifer to send demon after me. When I realized that I could not be delivered, I thought the best option was to commit suicide instead of being tortured and beaten by these merciless and wicked demons. On that day I took an overdose of paracetamol and I went to sleep, hoping that I will not wake up anymore. To my surprise, I woke up without any pain and no side effect. After this failure I went out to the city in a particular church and I met the pastor of this local church. I explained my situation to him and I made him understand that I was in danger, and that the devil is going to kill me unless Jesus intervened. After talking to the pastor, the latter entrusted me to the intercessors for prayer. The kingdom of darkness did not wait to react. In fact, Lucifer sent a demon called Sidor. This is the demon that work with witches that sent him to cause traffic accident in Boulevard. Actually this demon has a magic hammer, with which he knocked down cars and bus in the Boulevard in order to cause accident. I was walking in the street when the demon Sidor manifested, and he hit me with his magic hammer and I collapsed on the ground. People in the street did not see the demon Sidor. When he hit me, they just heard me screaming and collapsing on the ground in the street in agony, and when I fell I was bleeding. They rushed to me and they surrounded me. They wanted to take me to the hospital, but I refused categorically. Since I refused their help, they left me and I began to crawl to my place while I was bleeding. In the end I managed to reach my house, but when I opened the gate I saw 3 demons that were waiting for me in my place. Quickly they grabbed me and they started beating me. On that day I lost a lot of blood as they were beating me. Before leaving me, these demons warned me not to go to church again. 2 days later, I visited the man of God, for time was running out for me. On that day I knocked on his gate again and again, but no one was opening the gate. Since I had nowhere to go, I kept knocking for hours. I was desperate and full of fear. I left the pastor place in desperation as time was running out for me. When I left the pastor home, I was really down and hopeless. I was walking down the street under the rain in desperation. I knelt down in the middle of the street and I said, "Lord, kill me. I have been looking for deliverance for months but in vain." I was crying and reciting the prayer of a sinner, hoping that Jesus Christ would intervene. Since this pastor was unavailable for my deliverance, I talked to a friend of mine who gave me details of his pastor. Quickly I paid him a visit. After talking to this pastor, we went to church, and the pastor dropped me in the church where he told me the intercessor will pray for you. When he had left me there, I was disappointed. I was not convinced that these intercessors can do anything for me. Later, when these intercessors were praying for me, I began to feel the power of the Holy Spirit overwhelming me. I could not bear it. Therefore I sent a flying demon against them. The demon entered one of the sister that was with them, and she fell on the ground. I just wanted them to leave me alone because I could not bear that fire anymore. I wanted them to be praying for the sister that had fell on the ground, instead of praying for me. This was a diversion. Later they began to pray for me. When they began to pray, there was fire everywhere. Even the wall of the church was covered with fire. While these prayers were happening, I saw demons standing outside and watching the whole things. When the prayer ended, I left the church in order to go home, but these demons that stood outside grabbed me again and they began to beat me. When I had finished praying, I was invited by the intercessor to attend a vigil prayer in the night. Later, when I got home, I found a letter on my table. It was written in blood. I took the letter and I opened it in order to read, and it was written the following: "Since you are persisting in trying to separate with us, note that you will die today at midnight. This is the decision of the great master Lucifer." This letter was written by a demon who is an Indian deity. The devil has decided to kill me because I decided to leave him. In the evening I began to prepare to go to the vigil prayer that was held in the church in the very day the devil decided to kill me at midnight. I was about to leave when I began to smell the aroma of perfume. I quickly left the place. In fact, there are demons that have the smell of perfume when they manifest. When I sense perfume in my house, I suspected their presence. Left without delay. I went to my girlfriend so that we can go to church and attend the prayer vigil. I remember we were heading to church together for prayer. I started to feel like going back home. Thank God my girlfriend insisted that we should continue to walk forward to church and she refused to let me go home. Finally we reached the church and we joined the intercessors in prayer. As people were praying in the middle of the church, I was like in my own corner. However, when the prayer got intense, I began to feel like I was breathing with difficulty, and I had to use my mouth in order to breathe. When I opened my spiritual eyes, I saw 3 demons. They came inside the church precisely where I was standing in the corner of the church. One of these demons said to me, "The Master Lucifer has changed his decision. He will not kill you anymore if you can offer in sacrifice these Christians. He will forgive and renounce killing you if you can destroy these Christians and offer them as human sacrifice. First you must offer them as human sacrifice to him, then you will not die." When the demon was speaking, I looked at the intercessors with spiritual eyes. I saw that they were covered with an unknown matter that was red. When I was watching these intercessors, the demon were also watching them, and we all noticed that these intercessors were covered by the blood. As we continued to watch, I saw that these intercessors had become invisible, and we could not see them anymore though they were right there in the church. I told these demons, "I cannot see these intercessors, all I can see is red blood color." The demon replied to me, "Since you are unable to kill these intercessors, you are the one who will die." Immediately this demon launched a javelin right in my heart. I fell on the ground and I screamed in agony. At that moment I saw the prayer stopping. Everybody rushed to me to check what was happening to me. When they came to me, I saw these demons leaving me and they stood outside the church. These people surrounded me but they could not see my injuries with physical eyes, yet I was bleeding. I felt that I was dying. I decided to confess my sins before death. At that moment I realized that I could not talk anymore, for my mouth has become heavy. Suddenly I felt like my liver was pierced by a demonic arrow and my vein was torn, and I died right there in the middle of the church. When I died I left my body and I stood beside my body watching the people like a spectator. I saw people crying, others were running out as they were afraid, some of them were trying to revive my body. Among them was a brother who was a medical doctor. He was trying to find pulse and signs of life in my vein. When I looked I saw demons that were standing outside the church. They said in a loud voice, "We have to go." I saw that I was dressed with a black garment and we began to travel. We enter the astral world where sinners goes when they die. I was led to the abode of the dead and I saw the slaves' quarter where the devil cast souls of unbeliever. When we arrive in hell, I saw people in their cells. These lost souls had chains all over their bodies and there were padlocks on their mouth. Among these souls I saw our former president Mobutu. Before taking me to my cell, these demons took me to the throne of Lucifer, where he was holding a meeting with Satanists. When I was brought before his throne in this gathering of Satanists, Satan introduced me to Satanists that were attending his meeting in hell, and he said, "This man was my servant for many years, but because of betrayal he is going to the abode of the dead where he will be locked forever. This should be a warning to all of you here." When we left the throne of Satan, as we were moving we had to deviate great flames of fire. It was terrible. Then I was led to a place in hell where it was written the rewards of Lucifer. It is actually a place where there were many leaders who have served the devil in their lives. When they died they fell here and they were locked in various cells in this place called the rewards of Lucifer. This was how Lucifer rewarded people who served him and Satanist. These souls had chains all over their bodies and padlock on their mouth. In this place I saw our president. He sold our country to Satan in order to stay in power forever. I saw him in an unbearable torment. He was being tortured by the same devil that he served and offered the country. Later I also saw the president of Togo, the General Adema, who ruled the African country of Togo for 38 years. The many human sacrifice he had offered Satan earned him a place in hell. In fact, when he was alive the devil promised him another kingdom in the afterlife where he will rule with him, but when he died he had the most unpleasant surprise of his life. Instead of being received by Lucifer with honor due to a faithful servant, he was chained by Lucifer and subjected to torture that himself never inflicted on his victim when he was alive. In this place I saw the president of Gabon who sold his country in exchange of power. He was a grand master of his Masonic lodge. He was tormented by demon, yet he has served Lucifer faithfully through Freemason. Finally we reached my prison cell in this place called the reward of Satan, for this was the prison of people who had signed a pact with the devil, and it was total darkness. I was chained by these demons from my feet to my neck, and these demons put a padlock on my mouth. I was hopeless and confused when they left me in that cell. It was done for me. I knew that my life has ended. When people fall in hell they don't accept that their life has ended this way. I was there in my cell in absolute darkness, when suddenly, I saw that my dark cell was illuminated by a powerful light greater than the sun. I saw the demons that were around my cell have already escaped. I saw that only my cell that was illuminated, not my neighbors, and out of the light emerged a human figure. It was the man Jesus Christ standing before my cell. As soon as he manifested my cell opened by itself, and when he lifted his hand all the chains that were all over my body including the padlock they all fell to the ground. Jesus took me out of my cell and we started to move around the kingdom of hell. I remember when I was brought here by demon we had to deviate great flames of fire, but I saw that Jesus did not deviate the fire. He took me right in the fire, but we were not burned. As we were moving I saw a number of souls in their cells. Jesus asked me, "Do you know the person that brought all these souls here?" I said, "Lord, I don't know them." Jesus said, "These are the people you initiated in witchcraft and occultism. They died in their sin and they fell here." When I looked at these souls in their cell I was able to recognize these people that I have initiated in witchcraft and Satanism. They die without Jesus and they ended up here. Jesus looked at me and he asked me, "Do you know how much a soul cost? Do you know how much I paid for these souls?" Then the Lord lifted up his hand. As a result a monitor appeared, and I watch images on the monitor. I saw people that I had initiated in black magic getting on with their lives on the earth. On this monitor, they were still alive. Jesus said to me, "Do you see these empty cells here in hell? They are reserved for these people you are watching on the screen, the people that you initiated. When you go back, tell them about what I have done for you. You will tell them to change and to abandon their ways of life, otherwise they will fall in this place when they die." Quickly we emerge out of hell, and we stood on a golden and transparent